right.
What up, what up, what
What's going
up?
on, boys? Welcome back to another Serious Angler podcast. We are joined by our good boys here, Mr. Kyle Patrick and Jimmy O'Brien. What's going on, fellas?
Dude, first of all, I would like to say unbelievable introduction video. I was like this the whole time, like
Dude, every time I find myself jamming and want to hit a
yeah, I'm like Hobie Kayaks.
Makes me want to buy one myself.
dude, that Hobie video pounds. It's
honestly,
awesome.
and honestly, that enlightened me.
Yeah.
The way that kayak can maneuver is pretty impressive.
Insane.
It really is.
I
like
can't wait to watch Bailey drive his.
I get mine in a couple of weeks here.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool.
But it is funny though, because in the queue I could see all your whoever's getting ready to come on the show. I could see everybody at the bottom. So every time that commercial's going, I could see Andy bump into it.
I always wondered if you could see me. Now I know.
Oh, I can see it. Yeah, it's funny.
If there was a blooper reel, I would be all over every one of them.
That's a great idea. I got to figure out how to screen record the podcast just to make fun of you. That's perfect. Well, you guys just got back from the Harris chain, correct?
Yep.
The Bassmaster Team Championship, which congratulations on 15th place?
14th.
14th place.
Yeah.
14.
Which honestly sounds good. It sounds good, but it's just so unfortunate the way things panned out on the first day.
The first day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Well,
I would say us northern folks aren't accustomed because there was kind of a cold front that came through, right? And it kind of made things a little funny.
Oh, man. I mean,
33 degrees one of the nights.
Yeah. First of all, before we even get into the fishing, Jimmy and I are in this van with no heat at all. And so we're driving down the highway oh, dude, we're in Florida, the sun's shining. Nope. Dude, we were in this van, and first of all, Jimmy's got a sub temp sleeping bag, and I'm looking at it as he's loading up. I'm like, this is stupid, dude. We're going to Florida. Turns out he was very, very smart because I'm sitting in the van 4 a.m.
Don't you forget it.
It's tell me that when I slowly reel in a smallmouth on a faint finger.
Yeah, exactly.
I brought a sleeping bag.
Yeah, but I mean, the fish all throughout practice were so weird, and I'm not that familiar with fishing down south, and I don't think Jimmy, you're not either, really, are you?
I don't think any of us are.
Not.
Right, and I mean, I've fished there in May for a week on the Harris chain, a totally different fishery, but I think the fish, they were there. I mean, they're Florida bass. They're shocked. I mean, they didn't even know. Jimmy and I, and that cold front really hurt us because no one found anything in practice, really. Mostly 3-pounders. I mean, not that we heard. We found what we thought was a gold mine, a complete gold mine, which was this really clear water spring. There was 2 springs on the whole lake that were clear water, super tight entrances, almost like my Z7 Nitro. I had trouble getting in there. So we figured, A, there's not going to be that many people fishing in it, and B, the water temp wasn't 63, it was 71. Those 2 springs, the water was that much warmer than the main lake. Not to mention, when we went in there, we saw 30 pounds. I mean,
they were gold mines if they were biting.
Right. I mean, we saw giant fish, and in practice, they were I was throwing the jig and sort of speeding that jig out to try to get them to follow to see if they potentially would commit, and they did somewhat. So we were all right, let's not touch this. Let's go find other stuff. We found 2 other spots, but day 1 came along and we just focused so much on those 2 spots.
It's hard to leave.
You live and you learn. Hindsight's always.
Did you see them there still on day 1?
Oh, dude. We
never stopped seeing them.
It must have been, Jimmy, how big was the biggest one, honestly?
Honestly, that big one, it was definitely bigger than my personal best, which is 5.97.
Oh,
and it had to be 7+, bare minimum 7 pounds.
Yeah, I mean, this fish, it was sort of weird. It was swimming kind of like this, on its side when it swam, so you could see the stomach. And it must have been because the way it was set up was the canal went straight in from the lake, and there was 2 splits, and that split to the right there was a deep hole, and it was crystal clear water. And then it was a bowl, so it came up, and it was shallow. It was like, 5 inches all around this bowl, and there was mats all on the edges. And so they would like kind of roll when it got shallow and push up under that mat. So we would see these fish to the full extent, like their bellies and everything. So it was a really interesting situation. But it's weird. It was weird.
Rolling. I just think that's really weird. Because I feel like you think of Florida, you think fish rolling on their sides, you think of them, they're spawning.
Right. And that's
close to it.
We thought, wow, they must be close to spawning.
There are even some areas that are having beds on.
Well, I have heard of false spawns. Not even false spawns, like early spawns in Florida, like December, end of November. I heard there can be sometimes a spawn. And so let's backtrack a little bit. I don't mean to sidetrack here from Florida. So a lot of those fish that you fished, Jimmy, on that Douglas tournament on Erie in the middle of October, the reason why those fish are so fat is because they already have their eggs developed for the spawn in the spring.
Yeah.
So I bet you a lot of those big female Florida fish are actually, they could be getting ready to spawn in those springs.
Oh, no. Like, I was talking way before the tournament to my friend Paul Pagnato, and he told me, he was like, you got to remember, like, there could be fish spawning. Like, there really could be fish spawning. And I was how? But, yeah, I mean, can't there be up to 4 spawns in Florida?
Yeah, something like that. But like, even like what Andy said, though, like, they don't even have to be spawning, though. Like, there could be where they think they're going to spawn, where it's the conditions feel like they should be up there, so they'll get up there, but it's just not going to happen. So they might be on bed, but they're just not spawning, if that makes any sense.
Right.
But, I mean, that's a whole new world to me. I mean, that it was interesting because I like I said, I've only been to the Harris Chain. I fished it for a full week in May. Caught my personal best 8.5, which I was stoked about, and it was in that same spring, literally in the same spring. So I had a little bit of like oh my god, dude, if this is gonna be on. And we saw the big ones, but Jimmy and I in practice, the one big one we had, it was 6.5 that I caught in the corner of Little Harris. For anyone that watching that knows the Harris Chain, Little Harris is just off of Big Harris, and it's in that back corner where there's, it's from like 10 foot to 4 foot with scattered pads. I caught a 6.5 in practice. The minute I stuck him, we fought him. I pulled him in. I was like, wow, nice fish. And Jimmy was like, yeah, let's leave. And I was like, yes, let's leave. And so day 2 came around. We checked that canal, and someone was in there, first of all. And second of all, we were like, dude, you know what? Let's just not make that same mistake, right? Let's not, like, we got to catch over 20 pounds to even place or have a shot. Yeah. We were thinking positively. We thought we could maybe make the cut, but that was sort of out of reach. We needed
after the first day happened, it was sort of just get out of there with a check.
Right. And so we pull up to this spot that we found in practice, and the wind had been blowing perfectly all night, like literally wrapping around the point into Little Harris right into the spot that we're fishing, which has like a little canal that comes out to a wider, like I was saying, 10 to 3 feet with scattered pads. So they must have pushed the bait in there because day 1 they weren't there. And Jimmy, thank God he did this. Thank God. I was thinking it was going to be like, a flip and bite or, pitching around. Jimmy throws out a spinner bait, right? And dinks a 2.5. And I was like, that's a fish. We don't have any in the well. Like, that's good.
That's
and
what
then
they look like.
Dinks a 3.5. And I'm like, okay, I'm taking out my swim bait. Then he dinks a 4 and like a quarter. And we're like, dapping up. We're like, let's go. Because, granted, like, we hadn't seen a 4-pounder all tournament. So, like, we were like, wow, this is unreal.
It's dirt.
So cool. And then I took my swim bait out, and I was actually following his spinnerbait fish with that swim bait. And they were actually committing to my swim bait a little better, I thought. At least, Jimmy, I don't know if you thought this. They were committing to my swim bait a little better than his spinnerbait, which is weird. And this is a big, like, Shadowlicious Strike King's swim bait.
Like the hollow belly?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. And I had a 1/4 ounce weight owner hook, like the 6/0 hook.
The beast one, was it a flashy or non-flashy?
Non-flashy. And like Jimmy got a bite at one of the. This is when we had 3 fish for like.
Right at the boat.
We had 3 fish for like 10 pounds maybe. It was right at the boat. He was like, dude, I just got hit. And I pitched my swim bait in there and reeled it in. And sure enough, he crushed it. That was the big 4-pounder. And then I caught my big like 5.5, or it was 5 pound. I forget.
That was the coolest bite ever. I swear to God.
I throw my swim bait like a mile. And it hits the water. And all of a sudden we see like a little swirl, like way out in the distance. And I'm like, oh, this is gonna be good. And I'm reeling. And then I slightly speed up that reel because I know he's following it, and he just engulfs it. And we get that 5.5 in the boat. And that was just, it was epic. It really was
acrobatic.
Wait, so you said you had multiple bites like right at the boat?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there definitely were hardcore chasing, because just you speeding up on that and getting bit at the boat, because what those fish do is they'll tail that bait for so long until they find an ambush point when either that bait reacts.
And they use the boat as like a wall.
As a wall.
Yeah. And that's what I was saying, dude, is because like we threw it out. We watched that fish. It was lucky. I mean, we were throwing the right thing, but it was lucky to find that. I mean, I cast it in front of his face. It was like literally like he's sitting here just above the weeds, and my swim bait fell like right here and started going away from him. So we saw him with his fins. Like it was like a movement in the water the whole time chasing it. And that's when I was like, watch this, Jimmy. And I sped up and crushed it.
Was he sharking it?
Yes.
So sick. I love that.
I ran right to the net when he said that.
Well, like when you're throwing that at like a top water and you can't see the fish, but you see the water getting pushed behind it.
Yeah.
Dude, that is so sick.
It is really cool.
It's like giggling like a little schoolgirl as you bring it back. And you're like,
It's gonna happen.
There's nothing better than like a walking bait topwater bite where they just like follow and you can see that beast slightly behind it and all of a sudden just gone. You're like, oh yeah.
So,
just get sucked under.
But yeah, I mean, I have to give all credit to Jimmy for finding that bite, because we would have not been doing that had Jimmy not just been like, I'm going to throw the spinnerbait. And it was badass. So shout out to you.
It was a power fishing day. It really was. They were crushing, and they weren't eating anything slow.
But you wouldn't think that. That's why it was so weird to me, is you wouldn't think that those fish would be so active like that after a cold front. And so I don't know.
It depends. If the water temp was just slightly warmer in there from the water being pushed in from the wind, there's all kinds of different stuff going on.
Yeah.
Right. Was it overcast too?
No. Bright sun.
Beautiful morning, actually.
But I mean, yeah, that wind will get them going, though. I think regardless of
it was hot, though. It was the night before and the day before that really fired them up. And I think all that bait was pushed in, and they were, because the day before, our buddies we just met in Florida, they were fishing that exact spot, and they said they didn't get one bite. And fish either moved in or must have been in, and that bait being pushed in by that wind, I think, fired them up. And
they also did not stop. They didn't start biting until the sun came up. We fished the area for an hour until I threw a spinnerbait. That sun peaked up, and they started. There was boils all over the water. They were letting us know that they were feeding everywhere.
And did you try throwing a spook or something, or a topwater?
Unfortunately, no.
I had said that, and Jimmy and we both agreed. You know what? Let's just keep doing what we're doing because we're catching them, right? Like because we didn't want to waste any time, because we knew that at that moment, like this bite wasn't going to last long, and we needed to catch our limit. And it took us 3 hours to get 5 fish. It wasn't like we was like back, bam, bam, bam. We had to really move around and find those certain sweet spots, like what you're saying, like either ambush, like where they're sitting, or a little deeper, a little shallower. We really had to like find those specific areas. So it took us a while to get 5 fish in the boat there, but every fish was over 4 pounds, pretty much. It was really cool. And honestly, what an experience to be at an event like that. Like I said, when I post on Instagram, like everyone should shoot to try to get to that tournament, because not only is it an awesome Bassmaster tournament, but you're doing it with your friend. Like it's not like and that's a really cool thing. But
I'm gonna be doing it next year.
What'd you say?
Jimmy was saying something.
I just said I'll be fishing the Empire Team Trail next year to try and get a shot at the team championship.
What about
Who are you going to fish with?
I don't know. That's to be decided. Might be my father. Could be one of my close friends, Sloth. So we'll see.
Well, and I thought you had looked at Erie largemouth. Like there are those Erie guys that only fish largemouth. and that qualifies you if you take AOI.
So that's a Great Lake. The name of their trail is the Great Lakes Opens, but they're based out of Ohio. I was reading that today, Kyle.
Oh,
Unfortunately,
okay.
So won't be able to make that one.
It's interesting.
I'm really interested. Like, I can't believe they made their championship a 2-day derby on Erie for Empire. It's like, didn't you guys learn how the wind works on that lake?
I know.
But they did say the river is the backdrop. And I'm like, ooh. Part of me was like, I should fish Empire just to qualify for the championship because me and my buddy, nobody's going to beat us on the river in the fall.
Right.
Like, we can catch 20. So we fun fished the day before, and I fished with Destin and my buddy Jeff. I think we had like 23 to 25 pounds on the river.
Yeah.
Fun fishing.
And
like, I was praying that it was on the river because we were going to blow it out.
Yeah. Here's the thing. And the cool thing about Empire is like they give 2 spots for the top 2 in AOI. And then if you like totally shit the bed, but you qualify for the championship and then you crush the championship, you go to the Bassmaster Team Trail. And I'm telling you, Bassmaster does everything so well. I can't say that like, well, I mean, from running the Douglas Lodge Big Money Opens, I can say that it's like up and away. Like just what they do is so organized. Like from Bass Track, like you're texting your weights to like the music in the morning to just like the atmosphere. It's so cool.
Is that how that works, Bass Track? Is you text weights?
Yeah, so they send you a message to your phone and it says like text here to log your catch, and you basically put like fish like #1 and then you do 4-0 for 4 pounds, and that's how it updates. And I'm pretty sure that's what they do for the elites. If I'm not mistaken. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds right. I never knew how they did it, so that's pretty sweet. I always thought it was like some website or something they had to be on. I thought like that would be kind of a pain in the butt. But
yeah,
it's pretty streamlined.
Yeah, that's.
We didn't want to do it because we were on such a good bite. Day 2, I can't take the time to stop and put this in the phone. And I think the elites have maybe the other guy, a Marshall do it or something.
Yeah,
that's how it was.
Maybe. Yeah.
How many tournaments do you have to fish to qualify for the championship?
I want to say, what, if there's 4 regular seasons and then the championship?
Dude, they have quite a few. Oh, no, they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. They're just so far away from me.
I think, I think that you were saying they do your best 3, right?
I know you drop 1. So if if they have 4 tournaments,
it's best 3.
Yeah, 5.
They have 5 regular seasons.
So
Cayuga, Oneida, Fairhaven, St. Lawrence, 2-dayer, and Chameau.
Is Cayuga opening weekend?
Yeah.
It's always opening weekend.
Dude, it is. And
it'll be 29, 30 pounds.
Someone's always going to catch 29 pounds. I hope it's Jimmy. But yeah, that's going to be it's a badass tournament. But really what it comes down to is you have to spend a week straight finding those perfect spawning fish. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the guys that had 29 pounds the last tournament. They just found that like
The
perfect.
conditions were perfect for it.
Right.
It was glass. It was slick.
If I were to fish that trail, it would be just to qualify for the championship.
Yeah, because that championship is your shot to the Bassmaster Team Trail championship.
Yeah.
So
it was also nice to win on Cayuga.
Yeah, that's the only reason. That's the only reason we finished out the trail. I mean, not to be that's just standard. I feel like if we had totally shit the bed, like the rest of the lakes weren't our strong suits, but that Cayuga win was huge for us.
300 points in the AOI for a win at first place, and we just went to all the other events and tried not to get last place, and that's what we did. And we got.
What? No, do not say that. We tried to win every event we fished.
Yeah, obviously, but it didn't boil down to us crushing all those events. So,
right. Bailey, what's your plan next year as far as tournaments go?
No idea yet, dude. Yeah. I got a couple different things that I think I'm going to do, but if I'm actually going to do, we'll see what happens. I want to do the opens, but we're still waiting on that schedule. Yeah. So, as a co-angler, that is.
Yeah,
we'll see.
We can carpool.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
You're
doing all of them, aren't you? With Pignano?
Yeah, every single one.
I got to learn from these guys, and whether, you know, I get like a really good draw or not, it's just going to be cool to be in the back of the boat. And I'm not really like going to take it as like a super competitive thing.
Learning, taking everything in. Yep.
Yeah. And then I think I'm going to be marshaling most, if not all, of the elites. So
nice.
You might learn more there.
I'm going to learn a lot doing that.
Hopefully they actually do that. You know, because they canceled it last year because of COVID. But I mean,
well, it depends on where you work. New York, it was canceled for the marshal, but all the southern states, they still had marshals.
Did they?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, COVID's not a thing down south. COVID isn't there.
They don't believe in it. Yeah.
No, it's not that they don't believe in it. It's not there, bro. We were in Florida, and it was just like you walk into a gas station, like, how are you? Like, you know?
This guy from Florida took Kyle's mask and threw it in the fire. Okay.
What?
No, dude. What an unbelievable experience. Go to a campground
on a weekend
in Florida, because that's where we were. We had the Douglas van and the boat in a campground. This guy was like, come over and have a drink. And this was what? It wasn't even official practice yet.
No, 2 days before.
Yeah, 2 days before. We were like, yeah, sure. Like, sure. We go over, and this is the most, like, it's just the South in a nutshell. Around a campfire, having an awesome time. But yeah, this guy took off my mask. Yeah, took off
mullets, lights, and ripped blue jeans everywhere.
Amazing.
It really was. It was something else. But yeah, my mask got thrown in the fire and said, "Fuck COVID." And I was like, all right.
that was like the perfect accent too. Like,
yeah, that was amazing.
But yeah, it was crazy.
Well, I mean, you're fitting right in at Virginia. Then you're probably getting that southern swing down just right.
Yeah, I'm in Charlottesville, so Charlottesville is pretty. It's UVA because my girlfriend goes to UVA law school, so I'm surrounded by sort of the northern crowd still. But
It's interesting because I find like that Philadelphia line, like right on that PA border, is where like you start getting like a little accent change.
Yeah, for sure.
I know guys from New York that have some thick country accents. So
New York.
There,
No matter where you live in New York, we all have our own accents. So.
Exactly.
New York.
From Long Island.
New York.
Water and coffee.
I'll tell you what, my good buddy Forrest Buchan, going out in public with him is hilarious because he's a Louisiana boy and he still has his accent. So we went to a local brewery the other day after we went walleye fishing, and he walks in to order, and he says it. The lady kind of like looks up at him weird for a second because he's got the southern accent. I can't even do it. It's hilarious because then they have me, New York boy, born and raised, never really left the state, and normal accent, and then they have this thick Louisiana accent coming at him.
He's like borderline like Southern Cajun, like it's funny.
Bayou.
Yeah, back in Toledo Bend. That's pretty much what he talks about. You also can't talk to him without him mentioning Toledo Bend in some shape or form.
Yeah, I love Toledo Bend. It's like the wooded part or the non-wooded part of Toledo Bend.
Yeah.
I'll be right back, boys. I'm grabbing my computer charger.
You're good. So, Jimmy, I wanted to ask this question at the beginning, but we got right into the team championship. One thing I wanted to ask you and Kyle was, how you actually got into bass fishing, and like if you can recollect the first time that you actually went bass fishing and who got you into it.
Well, I have to attribute all that to my father. I started bass fishing before I could even remember. I always had a rod in my hand. I remember, I think I must have been 3 first time on the boat, and it's been great ever since. I got into tournament fishing when I was like 12 or 13 on the island, like actually tournament fishing, getting the rods and all your line right and all your lures proper, and it's only gotten better since. I just bought a Nitro Z7, the same boat as Kyle, this past
Congrats
summer.
Yeah,
So
dude.
so I'm really excited. I got it for a steal, so
got some real beer.
All uphill from here.
The seltzer.
Wow.
Getting fancy on us now.
Hey, girl.
You forgot the popcorn.
Yeah, pinky up, boys.
Oh, how I got into bass fishing, I'll tell you.
Yeah. But yeah.
Well, perfect timing. Go ahead, Jimmy. I apologize.
No, I've been an outdoorsman ever since I was a kid, and I just love everything about it.
Yeah, hence the what is it? Is it fins and feathers or feathers and fins?
Fins and feathers fishing.
Fins and feathers. Wasn't it like born in gravy or something?
It was baptized in gravy.
Baptized in gravy.
Must come to an end. Had to
People,
change it.
Listen, when we say fins and feather, my instant thing when I think of feather is duck, right?
Correct.
And then when you say baptized in gravy, I think of this delicious duck poutine I had when I was in Burlington.
Yeah.
So I'm like, fins, feather, baptized in gravy. I am all in. Like, it's fantastic.
I can't have them both. I wish I could.
That is probably one of the greatest handles I think I've ever seen. That was baptized in gravy.
Yeah.
People were genuinely. The best part is people were genuinely upset when he changed it. They were like,
Yeah.
what? Like,
Who are you?
That's what I was hoping, was that you guys would win the Bass Team Championship, so Bass would have to tag baptized in gravy.
the best part is you'd have to read it like this, like baptized in gravy, super stoked that they won the championship. Let me hear you scream, all right?
Let me hear you scream now. But yeah, I had to change it. Something a little more professional. I had people. I got 45 phone calls 20 minutes after I changed it.
Well, hey, dude, you can always have 2 Instagrams.
I do have a Finstagram, but that's God of Gravy.
I forgot about those. It's been a while in college when people had those things.
Yeah.
That's funny. Kyle, what about you, dude? How'd you get started into bass fishing?
Dude, so I will also say my dad influenced me, although he doesn't fish as much. He fished a lot. Like, he was a big time striper fisherman back in his day. But he worked in the city and he grinded for so long. Like, he just is getting out of it now that he didn't have time to devote all his time to bass fishing. But so he got me into striper fishing when I was, 5, 6 years old. And then he's born and raised in Cooperstown, New York. So we would go to my grandparents' camp on the lake, and I would take I would go catch a crayfish when I was like 9, put it on a hook with line in my hand, and lean under the dock and look, because there was always a resident bass, a largemouth, under this dock. So I would take the crayfish in my hand, lean down, and throw it under the dock, and watch as the bass came down. And then I would take the line in my hand after it unraveled, and so I'd hand line these bass in, and I would do it day after day. Same thing. Because the fish never left. It was like a resident bass. And that's when I sort of got, into, I was joined Bassmaster when I was 12. I circled a tracker, and I had a glass jar that I filled with $5 bills to wait to, I need to buy this bass tracker. Like, I got to compete. And then, I would wake up in the morning when we got a house on the lake. I would wake up in the morning at 5:50 and watch as the tournament blasted off. And I would just sit out my window just watching these bass boats go by. And then the power was back. It's such a distinct noise, that bass boat take off.
That shot out of the hole.
So yeah, that's sort of when I was 14 is sort of when I became hyper obsessed to almost dangerous level with bass fishing. And I really have to thank my parents for getting me a bass tracker when I was 15 years old. That my mom would trailer because I didn't have my license to all these tournaments.
Fantastic.
Amazing.
And then I met Jimmy's dad, Jim O'Brien, and that man is a knowledgeable dude about the sport of bass fishing. Like OD knowledge. Okay? More knowledge than
history or
what?
Like history or catching fish?
Both.
Catching fish. history. Like, dude, he's one of those like dudes that's like I can't even call him an old timer because he's also my friend, but like he has been around fishing for a long ass time, and he taught me a lot about fishing. He was my partner, dude. When I was 16 to when I was 20, I was fishing with OB, which is short for it's Jim O'Brien, his dad. And so I learned a lot fishing with him. And then obviously he learned stuff from me as we went on through. So it was cool to have that experience. And then I got a kid. Yeah, exactly. And everyone was like, what's this old dude doing with this 18-year-old? And meanwhile, me and Opie are in the car like, yeah, come on. It was good times though. And then I got the Z7, and that's when I started really dialing in, learning, and winning tournaments.
That's when I started fishing.
It's a learning curve. It's a learning curve. Like people don't realize when you talk about fishing and bass fishing how difficult it is to win just even a club tournament. I mean, you know what I mean. Like if you're enter a tournament, you have to know what you're doing, find the fish. I mean, everyone knows this, but. So it took me like a while, and I was sort of upset. Actually, it's funny. I met Jim O'Brien. We went out. We won a tournament on Onondaga. First tournament I ever fished in the tracker.
Ruined for life at that point. Ruined.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, ruined. Absolutely.
Because your expectations are like here.
Yeah.
And then the next tournament you go out and you finish here, and you're like, fuck.
Yeah. Dude,
I think Bailey has a very similar story, so it's funny how it happens to all of us.
Dude, I pull out of that tournament, first tournament I ever fished, me and OB. We catch 19, almost 20 pounds in like 25 minutes in the Onondaga River. It is just
this is easy. I'm going to be a pro. I'm going to be
yeah. It's like, dude, wait, why aren't I in the Bassmasters yet? Like, and we roll out of there all hot, and then it was a cold streak for a while. Maybe a tournament win here and there, but it hurt because you do, like you're saying, you have that expectation, but it only makes you want to work harder, especially if you're dedicated. And so I just put my head down, grinded, and this summer especially was really good summer.
You had a hell of a summer,
dude.
So 19 first, I think I read 19.
Yeah. It was
I
something.
was there for 13 of those.
Jimmy was there for 13 of those, yes. But dude, and it was all because I fished every single day. I either guided, or I was pre-fishing. I mean,
You have your guide license?
Yeah.
I had no idea. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah. It's honestly good money. Like, especially because I'm from Cooperstown, and that lake is, a mile. The launch is a
lake,
mile.
is it?
Otsego.
Oh yeah.
In Cooperstown,
so that's a mile.
You need to never fish Otsego when you are there, or however you say it.
Right.
That's probably smart.
Dude, because they all the baseball.
Yeah.
Tourism is such a big thing that you charge $100 an hour, and they're like, yeah, sure. So I mean, $100.
You literally charge $100 an hour.
Oh, I charge $100 an hour. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's great. And to be honest, like I give them a really great experience. But it is steep.
Didn't you catch like a 6'5" or a 6'7" on a frog?
Yeah.
Just a mag giant out of there?
Yeah, that's rare. You don't do that. Like
a fish over 5 pounds on Otsego is
like special.
Yeah, absolutely. You're never gonna catch 20 pounds there.
Right.
Unless it's October.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is every single finger lake. Juanita Lamoca, whatever other ones there are, you can go to any one of them in the fall and catch 20 pounds.
Why, dude? And I don't. It's crazy.
I've only been there once, so don't ask me about Juanita Lamoca. I have no idea about that lake.
I placed 4th on that with OB one year.
Juanita Lasaka.
Yeah, but we called it exactly. We called it Juanita Lasaka because it was literally so bad. It was just terrible. That river is terrible to navigate.
Oh yeah, you hit the trolling motor through it, and it's like a mile long each way.
Yeah, it's awful. But I mean, it's cool. I just like getting out on new water in upstate. I mean, it's pretty. It's
anywhere really.
And this is gonna bring us into a whole new topic. But I always argue, upstate New York is some of the best fishing in the country. Yeah. Exactly. Let's keep it down low. But I'm just saying.
So let's read this topic here again.
Everybody knows.
So, since the insane tournament we had for the Douglas Derby. You
Right.
realize there's like 6 big tournaments in a row on Erie this fall in 2021 in the fall.
I'm sure.
Because right now, 18th is Douglas, right?
Yeah.
Then Safe Harbor has their tournament the weekend after, which is like 20 boats roughly. Then the weekend after that is the New York State Fed Trail, which is like 80 boats or however many boats will show up. The weekend after that is the Canadian Tire Open out of Canada, which is 90 boats.
God.
Wow.
Then the weekend after that is the Empire Trail, 16th and 17th.
Are
And then
you doing
what-
every one of those?
Yeah, I'm not getting everyone. So I'm fishing Douglas, obviously, because I have to maintain our thing. But then I'm fishing the Fed tournament. I think that's it.
Yeah. No, you got to go back to the Douglas tournament and just stick 30 pounds and be like,
That time of year,
Empire one. I'll be fishing the Empire one.
completely different. That time of year is completely different.
yeah.
Like it could be 26 pounds that wins or 21 pounds.
You're like, or 21 pounds. That's such a low weight. God.
Yeah.
It is.
Not
For Erie, it is. But
21
I mean,
pounds, it would just be horrible. Listen, if we
Yeah.
did 21 pounds on day one of the Harris chain, we would have blown people out of the water.
Oh, God.
Like,
but here's the
Well, see,
difference
that's the
between
thing. Yeah, everybody assumes Florida is like this big bass factory. You're going
Right.
to go catch like 6,
there's
5
so many
pounders.
2-pounders.
Which
Yeah,
is
you-
when it's on.
Yeah, exactly. You'll have like we're talking to our buddy Steve Mooey down there. He lives in Tampa, and that's one thing he preaches too is Florida's not as good as everyone makes it out to be. You'll have a day where you might have a baller day where you catch 31, 32 pounds, but then the rest of your tournament days are going to be 11 or 12 pounds, or you're going to have the guys in the middle of the pack.
12. I would say like 13 to 16 is like, you know what I mean? Because
But the Harris
You're
chain is
catching
also a
16
special
pounds, though, you're
case.
doing good. Harris chain's different than the majority of Florida.
that's true.
Like Okeechobee, one guy will catch like 21 pounds one day, 9 pounds the next, and then 27 pounds. And then on championship day, he has to survive by catching like 14 to 16.
yeah.
And then again, Florida is special in the effect that when me and Kyle were down there before regimented fishing days on the Harris chain, we were fishing a lake called Pansovsky, and this one guy, he caught 43 pounds with a
43
with a
pounds.
big fish at 12. And we went there for 3 days, chucking spinnerbaits, chatterbaits, speedworms, everything. And the biggest fish that was caught was a 4-pounder. It was
Yeah.
nuts. 43 pounds is a crazy bag.
Dude, and here's the best part. Shout out. I'll give him a shout out. Donkey Nation. Yeehaw, yeehaw. That's what he said to us. But,
Yeah.
Is that his page, Donkey Nation?
yeah.
Yeah.
Dude. And
He's
he,
a
Looking it up now.
yeah, you
Oh, look that.
dude, but we're out there. He sticks a 9 3/4 in front of us, right in front of us. I was watching. And me and Jimmy were like,
What was he throwing? Was he doing the same thing you guys were doing?
Exact same.
Exact same
Spinnerbait
thing.
and chatterbait.
There's got to be something going on.
He knows
Dude,
the holes in the
finicky.
grass. He knows
no, he
something.
said it, dude, because he worked hours for that. He was grinding. He must have hit a perfect patch of weed or something. But dude, that lake, it's special because it's max 5 foot deep and complete weeded out. Like when you're running in the middle of that lake, you look back in your rooster tail and it's just weeds shooting out of your rooster tail. You're like, is this going to be okay on my engine?
No.
Did you do that in a Borat accent?
Yeah, I tried to. A little bit.
I didn't want to let that
almost,
fly.
I almost did it, and then I was like, "Wait, we're live," and so I'm gonna tone it back and try not.
I
Or
couldn't
not.
let that go.
You're going to be okay. Not.
We had a number one, not.
There are no weeds on my engine. Not.
That is such a good movie.
Borat.
Have you guys watched the second one?
Yeah.
Oh man, good or bad?
Questionable ending.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say questionable ending. And people that like Ruth Giuliani, questionable dude. Okay.
Not as good as the
Really, really questionable stuff goes on at the end of that movie. Okay, like
first one. No spoilers.
I won't spoil it because it's just yikes. That's all.
But not as good as the
Yikes.
first one. It's hard to top that first bore at. Really.
I already figured out the title for this podcast. It's going to be Bass Fishing and Movie Reviews.
No, but quickly back to that Florida thing. The difference between Florida and here is here you're consistently catching, let's just say on average, winning weights are like 20 pounds plus.
Yeah,
in Florida, there are way more like 8, 9, 10, 11. Far more. So it's like if you want the chance to catch a bigger fish, you go to Florida. If you want the chance to catch a bigger bag, you go to New York. That's what I think.
Unless they're snapping in Florida.
Right.
You'll put a monster bag together.
Right, but then you go into Erie and you catch 30 pounds like Andy did. Not many people are catching 30 pounds in Florida, I'll tell you that.
I think, you take a 4-day derb and you get someone in each region of the country, I think the Northeast or the Midwest would win every time.
Yep.
You're totally right.
Yep.
Majority, 9 times out of 10. 9 times.
Consistency is everything.
Unless it's fork in the spring.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Or Caillou.
TVA too. Yeah. 100%.
I want to know when the open schedule will be released. Like, it's got to be next week or this week. Or
I bet it'll be the first week of January, right around New Year's Eve. I bet it will get released.
They're going to wait that long. Man, that sucks.
I bet you they're working on, like, solidifying one of the regions, like a tournament somewhere.
Like,
stock up on one.
Because of COVID, it's being, Yeah,
we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But either way, I'm going to do it. Yeah. I'm going to do the Opens, and I'm going to do the Fed up here in New York again. That was a good one.
We should fish some of those
like that?
Federation tournaments.
What?
Did you like that experience? The Federation?
I loved it, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm going boater.
I had a really good
right in and going boater, so I can't wait.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
I did have a really
I'm
good
hopping in boater right off the bat, just going right in. Green.
Hell yeah.
There you go.
Oh, I like that, dude.
It's a good group of guys for the majority, I think.
Right.
I mean, the guy who I drew for St. Lawrence River is a good friend of mine now, Dean Menkes, and he was a guy on the St. Lawrence, so it's like I was gonna be around fish.
Yeah.
Kind of just needed to have your line in the water, and you're gonna run into him.
Right.
And then it went to. So it was only 2 this past year, and that was my first time doing it. And that was Cayuga, where I got 10th with 1 fish. So.
What? Oh. Was that the tournament when the guy had 18 pounds as a co-angler?
No, that was the weekend after, I think.
That was
weekend before.
That is just wrong.
Yeah, in front of his boater zeroed and everything. Yeah,
I heard he had 2 5s and an 8. Am I mistaken?
No, he had a 7, a 6, and a 5. I think.
Okay.
Still.
Huh. I mean,
he had a mega for that time of year.
And he beat all the anglers.
In one of the biggest community holes in the entire lake.
He was at a biggest community hole in the entire lake?
He was in the big, it was no secret to anybody. He's at the island. It's no secret. Everyone knows about it.
Island outside of Union Springs?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
There's 5 boats around that watched him beat all of them. They all zeroed except for that co-angler.
We drove right by that area like 3 times.
Well, I mean, you always drive by that area because that's like,
yeah,
I think, dude, it was a conditions and timing deal is what I think, because the way that I heard it, and I didn't talk to him directly, but what was relayed to me was that he caught them all within like a 30-minute window.
I believe it totally.
Yeah.
Like I believe the 7 and a 5 came back to back.
Here's the reason I believe it.
Probably was what I bet you what happened is that time of year, fish on that lake do school, is that he literally just timed it perfectly, cast perfectly, lined up with that school, and they were feeding, and he hit them hard. And that's all that happened.
Dude, it's the same thing. Jimmy and I, we fished the Cash on Rod event there. Day before, Jimmy catches probably 16 pounds with 3 fish.
Yeah.
And 3 fish, like giants. Like he catches all 5s. 5 1/4, 5 1/4, 5 1/4. And this was in like a big stretch, but we were getting bites and we weren't setting hooks. So we were like, wow, we got it locked. So I'm like, totally. We left at like 2:30. Usually I pre-fish till like 5 or so. We get out, we fish a tournament. We basically zeroed, right?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't get a single bite in that area. They moved so.
Oh no, we had 3 fish. We had 3 fish for 6 pounds.
Right.
And that's why Cayuga, I think, is so hard sometimes. Is the weeds are so vast, and it just comes down to timing. And like like what you're saying, just perfectly casting into like a school. But again, I'm no Cayuga expert. So
that lake is also absolutely brutal with what the DEC does to it with spraying it.
It kills the weed. They spray the weeds.
Horrible.
Right?
They spray it. They throw pellets.
I didn't know
Oh
that.
yeah. Oh yeah, it's bad. They spray it multiple times a year. Put pellets down. They kill as much grass as they do.
Why did the DEC do that? That's my question.
Money.
No way.
Yeah. No, I should have guessed.
The town that appeases to their folks that live on the lake, and that's all it is.
And yet the pellets don't do jack. There's weeds all over that freaking lake.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
well, when they spray, they definitely kill the weeds in that area.
They say they're spraying to control what is that stupid weed? There's not the milfoil, it's the other one.
Hydrilla.
The hydrilla, yeah.
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 But they seem to only spray the milfoil.
Right.
Yeah.
Milfoil.
I think I seen one day where the grass was really healthy there, and then that was it. It was gone.
The milfoil on that lake is special.
When you find them, yeah.
Oh, so cool.
I mean, it's no secret that Canisius is probably one of the best grass fishing lakes in New York years ago. Used to be. Now it's completely different.
Dogs.
They sprayed that like crazy.
Right.
But, I mean, I don't know. It's a weird time of year.
Last year was weird. Last summer was a weird summer, I think.
I think it's the dynamic of everyone fishing every day and spraying weeds.
That
oh,
can't help it.
Well, the pressure was insane. I remember going to Canisius on like a Wednesday and the lot was full and closed.
Right.
And then with COVID, everyone and their mothers is fishing.
Well,
and pleasure boaters and
oh yeah, I wouldn't even bother going to one of the lakes that allowed boats during the week. It was just ridiculous.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Especially you on your Hobie, it's like, oh my god. 4-footers with boat wakes.
Yeah, and bringing rods and a baseball bat for jet skis, pretty much.
I just put a 1 ounce jig on spinning gear on like 12-pound test.
Put it through the end.
Yeah, it's New York. I think that's not even just New York, though. I mean, I think that was a universal thing around the country.
Definitely.
Really?
I mean, you think, dude, the TVA is 10 times worse than we had it up here. We thought, dude, you think that's bad pressure? That's like an everyday thing on TVA.
200 boats out of every boat launch, 2,000 boats on the
every day,
any given time, every day.
On TVA. So like
Watchful, Chickamauga,
Yeah.
Pickwick.
Was it what's the guy you had on live? He was talking about how Kentucky Lake you used to be able to just catch them so well.
Matt Robertson.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant Lambert.
No, not Matt Robertson.
Lambert, Jason Lambert.
Yeah, Jason Lambert.
Whoever it was, he was saying, and now it's just like you're hard pressed to find 15 pounds.
It's coming back fast.
Is it? Yeah, I mean, I believe it.
They've been stocking the crap out of it. So
yeah, that's good. That's good. And tournaments are the damage. I mean, if you're not running a tournament well, not the damage, but if you're not running your tournament well, especially with live release and fizzing, you're damaging that fishery without a doubt.
Absolutely.
Well, that was the biggest issue with Kentucky Lake is it was literally like major tournament after major tournament after major tournament, and fish care was abysmal. There'd be like July, August on ledge fishing lakes, and they would have like 200-300 fish dead just floating.
Oh
my god!
Like you can go back and find like articles about how there was just dead fish everywhere on Kentucky Lake, and like I want to say it was like between 2011 and 2014.
Solely from tournament fishing.
That destroys fisheries. Destroys them.
God, dude. That's just sad.
It's such an interesting argument, though, because there's so many theories getting thrown around as to why it's going down the drain. Like, there's the theory of, yes, tournaments, and there's a theory of the Asian carp, and then there's a theory that it's just an age swing of these fish that's just hitting an all-time low, where there's just a class of fish that just died off. I don't know. I think it's really hard for a body of water that's that massive, that many fish on it, to get a clear and cut, defined answer as to why it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a perfect.
There's too many variables.
Literally, is a perfect story. you had the fish kill from tournaments. I think there was actually in there too a couple of like really cold winters. The Asian carp came in and ate all of the plankton out, so the minnows had a hard time having food, so the baitfish population plummeted. So then all of your 2 to 4 pound bass had nothing to eat. So now they're not growing, they're stunted, they're not being able to reproduce properly because they don't have enough juices in their body to do it. Like literally the perfect storm.
Juices.
Yeah.
The
Oh my god.
No, that's a really good way to put it, though, Andy, because it might not be just one single thing. It might be an accumulation, like you said, a perfect storm. I think that's a great way to put it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
The one thing that I have read, though, is that the smallmouth fishing on Kentucky Lake is incredible compared to years past.
That's what's been winning tournaments. Our boy Jackson Sullivan down there, just out of high school, winning derbs down there left and right on smallmouth.
And now you go back and you think, is that because they weren't targeted? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very well could be.
That full situation. Like,
I wonder if there's gobies there now.
The smallmouth swimming down there like, ha ha. Oh,
I mean, technically, there should be gobies in the Mississippi because it connects to the Illinois River, which feeds into Lake Michigan, which then connects into the Ohio, which connects into the Mississippi River. So technically, there could be gobies, and we don't even know it.
to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised. Those little rats, they're everywhere.
They've infiltrated.
Like if you jump into Erie, Ontario, you can get them in your shoes. They're like, it's like
you go to pay somebody at the restaurant that night, and there's a goby in your wallet.
Yeah, it's like $1 and
surprise.
50% of the bottom of the lake is made up of gobies.
Yeah. We had Mike Huff on here, and he goes, so how much I got to pay you guys to get a live well of gobies to come down here to was it Cherokee? He's like, these smallmouth need to get bigger.
Dude, and that's seriously like that's like a joke, but like it's not. Like you could
you could have like a black market goby trade.
Yeah, dude, like, gobies are
business idea. Let's go.
Yeah, like
I want nothing to do with like the fisheries and
you're getting a lot of trouble. Well, you probably make some mad bank there for a while. Put some gobies in some farm ponds.
Well, it's kind of funny if you think about like the first couple of years that the gobies get introduced. It seems like the fisheries just fall right off because the fish don't know what to do with it, and then they're killing the biggest thing gobies do during the spawn is they nest raid, so they're just infiltrating these nests.
Oh.
So you're going to kill a couple spawn classes until the fish figure out what the heck is going on.
True.
So it's like a 10 to 12 year swing before those fisheries would actually probably uptick, and you're probably going to really harm them for a couple of years.
Right.
So those gobies eat smallmouth eggs? Or
bass eggs? Largemouth eggs.
They eat everything.
They eat everything.
So how does
the
smallmouth deal with that on Erie and Ontario? How do they deal with it?
They just beat the crap out of them. They're hyper aggressive.
Right. They swipe at them. They eat them. They just everything.
Listen, Bailey's witness. You have to come here one day in May and fish with me at First Spawners. They are the dumbest freaking fish in the world.
He caught the same fish like 4 times in a row.
I know. I can imagine because on Otsego, I used to fish spawn all the time, and there's tons of smallmouth. You throw your drop shot in there, and it's like they just eat it, period.
But just imagine, because they have to defend their nest all day from gobies. They're like hyper aggressive. Like you can throw it 10 feet away and they'll come out and eat it and try to swim and spit it.
Wow.
Yeah. Because they're just protecting from gobies.
I'm coming there. Like, well, it depends on my schedule, but I will definitely try to make it happen.
It's so dumb. I think me, Bailey, and his dad caught 60 fish in 4.5 hours.
Yeah.
And they're all 3.5 pounds.
I've never seen my dad laugh like that before. Oh yeah, he was like squealing like a little girl catching those things off, but it was so funny.
Little Swedish girl.
It was a good time. But yeah, it's a whole nother, it doesn't get old.
No, it doesn't.
Keep finding new fish that are on bed. It's so much fun.
Setting the hook. Never
I hope that like when I go to heaven, like I walk through the gates, right? And like they're opening up or hell, depending, either or. They're opening up and I just am instantly on the front of my bass boat in a spawning situation. That would be, and like it's never ending. That would be.
It's just the spawn forever.
Yeah. But that is exciting.
So real quick, talk to me about Lake Anna. We were talking about this offline.
Oh yeah. So
not like specifics, but like what I've heard Lake Anna thrown out there all the time.
It's like the big fish haven of Virginia.
It's what?
The big fish haven of Virginia. I've heard.
That's what I heard about Smith Mountain though.
Smith Mountain is actually the big fish haven. That's what I've heard.
Okay.
But there's big ones in Smith Mountain, but there's not as many fish from what I hear.
Isn't there like giant striper in Smith Mountain?
And
Lake
Anna too?
Dude, Lake Anna. What was the
30
one
pound.
at the top? 30 pound?
29 something, but that's a 30 pounder.
I'm coming there just to striper fish. I want to throw top waters like midsummer for schooling stripers.
You come to Long Island,
Bro, you don't even do that. So this is part of Anna. Anna is heated by these nuclear power plants that I was telling you offline. You go in the middle of like January and fish top water. Mark Zona came to Lake Anna on the hot side, they call it, and he was throwing top water for largemouth, and they were crushing.
While it was
snowing. While it was snowing, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like
I'm in.
Yeah, this lake's pretty special, and we could do a really cool edit too if like if we figured out like a day that it was snowing and the water's steaming and you're just throwing top water.
That would be.
You probably wouldn't even see it. You just hear.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we'll bring the camera gear down. We'll go fishing.
Yeah, and I've got a sweet storage facility down here in Virginia that I rent. It's a little steep, but it's worth it. And it's right near Lake Anna and sort of in between Lake Anna and Smith Mountain. So,
heck yeah,
good deal for
Sounds
sure.
like we need to make that happen.
Plus, it's only 10 hours from Florida, 8 hours from New York. I'm telling you, I'm starting to really like Charlottesville. It's in that center of everything. Like I can get to Florida and I can get to New York, and I don't mind driving. So it's cool.
And forget about the West Coast.
Well, yeah, I mean,
You could just forget about that.
I don't care about the West Coast.
Yeah, no.
Unless you're like from Arizona, everyone's forgetting about the West Coast.
Yeah.
But all right, so we got. Andy, you got any more questions for him before we hit him with the last question?
Nah, man, this is great. A lot of rabbit holes. I thoroughly enjoy rabbit holes.
I know you do. I know you do.
They're like one of my favorite things. Wild tangents and rabbit holes. Let's go.
Just put that on a
Andy's all
t-shirt.
for it. All right. So no more questions for him. All right, we're gonna hit you boys with the last question. I don't know if you guys have listened thoroughly through a whole episode before, so you might know the question already. But we're gonna hit you with it. It's if you could sit down, have a steak, have a beer with 3 different people. They don't have to be fishing and don't have to be alive right now. They could be alive 600 years ago. If you could sit down and invite 3 different people to pick their brain, have a steak, have a beer, who are you gonna invite?
First of all, I love the 2 different reactions between Jimmy laughing and like this big grin on his face and Kyle going, fuck. It's like the perfect epitome of the question.
You gotta engage those 2 brain cells.
Yeah.
2. Y'all have 2? Oh.
2? Jealous.
I can start off by saying 1 is Greg Hackney. That's
One.
That's just the one of my 3.
Did you listen to the Stray Cast episode with Hackney, Christie?
It was Hackney, Christie, and I forgot who it was.
It was oh my gosh, I can't believe we're forgetting his name. He's a legend.
Denny Brower.
Yes, I kept thinking Bauer from like hockey, like the brand Bauer, and not Brower.
I did not
think
watch
Denny
that, no.
Brower.
Oh, okay, I highly
Christie
recommend
a
if you get time, listen to that one. It's so funny.
Yeah, because he's just an outstanding fisherman. He's got a crazy personality. And,
He was like low key dark side funny.
Yeah,
Denny Brower. Yeah.
Like if you knew him personally, oh yeah,
He would be one of the pros to have his Instagram handle be baptized in gravy.
Yeah. When I go pro, maybe I'll switch back.
I got my three. Just throwing them out there quick for you. Albert Einstein, Elon Musk, and Gerald Swindle.
But why?
Oh, that's greatness.
And here is my reason. Gerald Swindle, one of the best junk fishermen. Okay. And I love that style, although it's becoming obsolete because of all the electronics and all of the, new things. Maybe it isn't. I just feel like
I'm a junk fisherman 100% when it's largemouth time.
Right.
100%.
Right.
So I love it.
I think he's a professional junk fisherman. He's a great fisherman, and he gets on patterns. I'm not saying, but he is really good at that. I'd love to sit down, pick his brain. Albert Einstein, because I just want to know what that dude's all about. Like, he's the smartest guy to ever walk the face of the earth, I guess. So I would have a steak. Have a steak with that dude. It would be just
wild,
astonishing. Especially if I could bring him to like our society today. And like,
rip us apart.
I'd be like, look at this.
You'd be like, yeah, I saw that in a dream.
Yeah.
I designed that 120 years ago.
Yeah. And I would say then Elon Musk, because I think that he is going to be the most influential person to ever actually in the next probably 10, 15, 20 years. I mean, he's doing stuff that people don't even like think about. And I think I would like to pick his brain, A, about investing, B, about just how he like comes up with this stuff. I would just be curious to like pick his brain on just certain ideas and questions. But number one, Gerald Swindle. Okay, let's just get that straight.
Absolutely. So a little side note on Elon Musk. He actually came out against electric vehicles, even though he's like the only mass producer of electric vehicles.
Oh yeah.
He goes to create and turn everybody into an electric vehicle, right? They would have to recreate and rebuild the entire power grid in the world to handle electric vehicles. It wouldn't be cost effective.
I believe
it'd be so environmentally destructive. That'd be worse than what we're doing now with gas and coal power.
Well, I think that's as far as that's talking about where we're at now. If we find clean energy, then I think he's wrong about that. Yeah, it's hard to say that Elon Musk is wrong, but like, was he talking about like what we can?
No, he's just saying if
right now, if everyone
it'd be fine if we all switched to gas and electric cars, but the infrastructure in place around the world would basically implode.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's what you need to create change, though, as far as how we. So arguably, it's a good thing. I mean, if that were to happen, then we would have to adapt, which we're not doing enough of now. That's another argument,
Well, essentially, the cleanest energy you can have is nuclear.
Yeah, but
from an environmental standpoint.
But it's the most dangerous.
It is.
Yeah.
A little unknown fact about windmills is they're made with crude oil and they're powered by crude oil. So you can't get rid of the oil industry. It just switches gears and now you're...
Isn't that weird that windmills are supposed to be your source of energy, but they're powered by...
You're dumping 5W30 into them.
Yeah. But like to create them, you have to use oil to create them. So it's just insane. And then you can't, when they break down, you just store them in the ground and they never decompose. So how good is that? Because you can't break them down and recast them into something else.
It's such a hard thing for our society to move to clean energy. It's very interesting. Jimmy, let's hear your other two.
Yeah, go ahead, Jimmy.
Yeah, my number 2 is Gordon Ramsay because he's gonna cook the steak. All right, he's gonna cook that steak. He's gonna. I don't know, get the garlic going, maybe a little bit of red wine, some and
some rosemary,
some
and I guess number 3 is George Washington, Big GW. He was the first to ever do it as a president, so I want to pick his brain on that.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yes.
I like it.
I want to hear your 2. I want to hear your 3. Do you guys already do this?
Oh man.
Oh, you already did? Oh, all right.
Well, what are they? You don't need to explain it. Just what are your 3?
Oh, shoot. I don't remember what I said. I'm pretty sure I said Elon Musk.
Oh, really?
No. Screw that. Let's do new three.
New three. All right.
Hell yeah.
All right. Go first, Bailey, because I got to think.
First and foremost, The Rock.
Wow.
Dude, just to have a brain sesh with him for an hour would be
like,
not here, but his Terramana tequila.
Really? It's good to see you.
That's terrible. That's terrible.
Zap you up, and then like arm would be like,
Yeah, he'd break your wrist.
He would just squeeze his fist and then gone.
yeah.
But his
third.
brain power is crazy though. His ethic is ridiculous.
I'm changing my third from George Washington to Kevin Hart, hands
No, you
down.
can't change it.
You can't change it, bro.
That's
I do like it though. Kevin Hart. Did you listen to that Joe Rogan episode with Kevin Hart?
Yeah. Oh my god.
That's really good. Really good one.
It was hilarious. You see the First We Feast with Kevin Hart?
The what?
It's the show where it's got hot questions and hotter wings. Like they eat a bunch of spicy wings and they ask him questions and Kevin Hart.
No, but I
broke
need
it down.
to. I like Kevin Hart's ice bath thing that he does.
Yeah, that's also funny.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd definitely The Rock. The Rock will be first and foremost. I think who else? Andy, what's your fourth?
All right. So the first one is going to be a little weird. I'd like to talk to Earl Benz.
To who?
And Earl Benz, the original creator of Triton boats.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
And here's why. I want to know why Triton became White River Marine, first of all, and then why he decided to get back into building boats again with Camus. So I want to know why he had the desire to build boats, get out of it, and then come back in.
I think that's a money thing. Think about it. He made a superior boat, or top of the line boat, sold that off, made guap, and it was like, might as well start from scratch. I'm a badass boat builder.
Yeah.
That's my.
Well, it's kind of like Forrest Wood in Vexus. I heard he has a huge part in Vexus, right? I believe Forrest Wood does. So it's like the same thing. It's like, why would you leave Ranger and now be on the board with Vexus? Your pride and joy, but then you left Ranger. Now you're designing Vexus.
John Morris was like, "You want Ranger? I'll buy Ranger from you. Here you go." And he threw him like a dump load of cash.
Oh, I'm sure. It's just like if you take that money and I'm like, why wouldn't you just be done with it and just go fishing or something? Why start up another boat company?
Yeah.
Do you feel like there was wrongdoing there? Do you feel like you let down, a part of the fishing community, or is it just passion?
Right.
Just raw passion for building fiberglass rigs.
Yeah. My next one is obviously Elon Musk. I was actually very disappointed the fact that he was not designated for Person of the Year. Like no singular mind in the world, I think, right now is as brilliant as he is. Especially if you think about he basically heads up SpaceX and designed those rockets and was like, if they fail, it's on me because I designed them to put Americans back in space, which is just insane.
No question about it.
And yeah, I mean, and still to this day, I'd like to sit down and talk to Hackney about about jig fishing.
Yeah,
because he's not even he is a good jig grass fisherman, but I feel like there's more stuff that he's better with than just flipping grass with a jig, like a swim jig. Go ahead.
You know what I heard about him? I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just have to say. On Cayuga, when he won in 2014, he flipped his 1 ounce jig. And he had 4 1 ounce jig rods on the deck. That's all he had. He flipped his 1 ounce jig, jacked a 4, reeled it in, put that fish in the boat, sat the rod down, flipped out, caught a 4, put it in the boat, and then put those 2 4s in the live well. It was like he didn't even take the hook off of the fish.
He did that 4 times.
Right.
That's a reason though, because when you fire up those big fish, that's the best time. Like, when you catch a big fish is the best time to catch a giant. Is when you get big fish fired up, you got to get right back in there. If not, especially if you're a team, perfect opportunity.
I'm sorry, that's badass though. Just one guy, he's like,
oh yeah,
puts it in the boat and then just.
So another example that going back, Jacob Wheeler basically did like the same thing on Champlain. He caught one, and as he like literally put it in the well or something, or plopped it on the floor. I don't remember exactly what it was, but he had like 2 or 3 fish in the boat, and he saw him on his depth finder straight down on 2D. Literally just dropped a drop shot on him and left the bail open as he was putting the fish in the live well because he wasn't calling at that time. Literally walked up, closed his bail, and set the hook on another one. They were both like 3.5, 4 pound fish.
That's so sick. That's baller.
Yeah, it was on one of the best tournaments on like Champlain that they had live footage of it.
That's so cool.
It's like right in the middle of the TV show. It was crazy. Yeah.
Goated.
Wow.
Like literally fighting him, saw him chasing it in on 2D. So when he flipped the fish in the boat, he just dropped another rod down, put the fish in the live well, closed the bail, set the hook.
Wow. That's really cool. I'm so excited to fish tournaments.
I know.
Like I just come off fishing so many tournaments, and my season just doesn't end. Like I'm fishing all of Lake Anna Smith Mountain into basically the Bassmaster Opens, and then it just starts up. I'm so amped. Sorry.
Are they getting mad that you're like New York?
I'm rubbing it into faces. I'm rubbing it into faces.
You know what you are down with?
What? I'm sorry, what?
Totally random. I just thought about this, but you know, be a cool person to sit down with.
Oh,
Dan Bilzerian. Talk stories with him.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Definitely not PG rated, but it would be some baller stories.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
His podcast with Joe Rogan, like watching it was hilarious because he'd say like these crazy things that only people could dream of doing. And he just says it nonchalantly. He's just like, yeah. Joe Rogan's like, you did that? He's like, yeah.
Yeah, what
like, so nonchalant about it. It's like, I hate you.
wait, hold on. You did cocaine in a helicopter, then skydive down to the middle of a lake? He's like, yeah, I did.
Yeah, and I landed in a stripper.
That's not even that crazy compared to stuff he does. He's nuts, dude. That guy's nuts.
Man. Well, boys, I think that about does it for tonight. You guys anyone got any last remarks before we sign off here?
No, that was great.
Please let COVID end soon so I can go to Virginia without getting in trouble with work.
Amen.
I'm gonna go regardless, but
yeah, I'll be there, Bailey.
Come down. I'm hanging, dude. Thanks for having us on, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Congrats again.
Yeah,
thanks. Appreciate it.
We'll hope to see you back there again next year, except this time with the dub.
Yeah, that'd be a serious dub.
And then when you guys have to like duke it out for the singles, and it's just gonna be a shotgun contest,
a battle. Oh,
yeah.
Well, I'll have my Phoenix bass boat at that time, so I'll be getting.
There you go. All right, thank you guys. Thank you everybody for watching and listening. We'll see you guys next time.
See you guys.